Hey, how's it going? My name is Shane, and so this video is an update video. A couple years ago now, I had posted a video on my experience with Moldavite. The last video I put up, I think, was like after, working with the crystal for 9 months. So it's been a couple years now, so I figure I'll just kind of give an update and just kind of express, like my thoughts of working with the crystal over time. So I know in my last video I had talked about how like first off, like my initial, I guess, experience with Moldavite was that I didn't get the whole like supernatural kind of warm sensation feelings that others have expressed with holding the Moldavite crystal, which I have here. But with that said, I did still notice the energy of it, but just in more of a subtle way. I guess one of the big things that I wanted to say within this video was that Moldavite, I feel, came into my life during a transformational time that I was going through, which is what Moldavite is known for. It's known as being like kind of a catalyst of change and transformation and spiritual growth. So I feel that it definitely did come into my life at a very specific time, because let's see, I first got a piece of Moldavite. It was January 2014, and I said during that time, like previous to me getting that, like I was dealing with a lot of like depression and things like that. I feel like this is one of the crystals that helped me to kind of grow and overcome that. And as far as I guess kind of explaining some of the experiences that happened since working with this crystal. So yeah, January 2014, first got the crystal. August 2014, I actually ended up going homeless. So again, like I said, it came into a point in my life where there was definitely a lot of change and transformation going. But yeah, it was just kind of August, yeah, 2014 was a rough point where I ended up having to pretty much sell everything I own. And then January 2015 is when I finally kind of started to, start to get things in order within my life. I, was able to finally find a job, find, my own place to live. And like synchronistically, like things were just lining up. It was really just amazing as I look back at just how lined up things were and just how things were just falling into place during that time. I guess it's kind of tricky because like so much has happened. I'm just gonna try my best to be brief and just kind of give the I guess like the Cliff Notes version. So yeah, homeless, things coming together in January, and like February, and then May or so, I think it was, I ended up, like I was working one full-time job. May I decided to start working another job, so I was working like 2 jobs, 70 hours a week. But during that same time, I was also wanting to like start my own business, so I actually started doing that as well. And I will say during that point in life, I didn't really have much of a social life. I mean, I kind of considered work my social life, but hey, I had friends at work, and so when I was at work, that's when I was around people, socialized. But like at home, I definitely lived rather, I guess, reclusive or like a hermit or whatnot. But I did, like I said, I was, basically on my grind, right? I was like working my job, saving up my money, getting my finances in order, paying off debt. But yeah, as I said, also about June, it was actually probably more so July I started working on my business. And then November 2015, like that's when things totally took off. My business, like the first week in November, I made like more money in 1 week on my own business than I did after working a month at my job. So that week, after I calculated my numbers, I pretty much went into my job. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be my last week, I'm out. Which was awesome, and then just kind of explain more change. So yeah, so then I was doing my own business full time. Holidays were awesome. Sales were going out the roof, which is amazing. December was another pivotal point. There's like, that was kind of like the birth of like my social life. So like I said, I spent pretty much most of 2015 not really social. I didn't go out. I didn't really have any friends or anything like that. December, I went to LA for the first time, which had to do with business, but that was kind of like my first kind of getting out of the house moment. And it was awesome. And that, I said, that definitely opened like a floodgate, because since that time I've pretty much been going to just tons of different like networking events and conferences and just all kinds of things, and then just socializing in general, making friends, going out with friends to eat and drink and just all kinds of stuff, and just having fun and living life. And so as I look, you know, again, bring back to Moldavite, as I look at the time span between 2 years ago, or you know, January 24th, so I guess that's like 2.5 years ago, when Moldavite first came into my life, like, I am definitely a very different person from where I started from to where I am today. And it really does kind of blow my mind, like just how much can just change and transform. And again, that's not to say that that change wouldn't have happened if I wasn't, you know, carrying this crystal around or meditating with it. But at the same time, I do feel, just in my own personal, you know, beliefs or whatnot, or feelings, is that I feel like the energies that this crystal, you know, kind of possesses or whatnot, help me through all of those changes and transformations that have, you know, definitely occurred in my life over these past couple of years. And I will also say that I have noticed over the past few months that I really don't even carry this crystal around as much as I used to. I feel like, and then it is interesting kind of how that kind of works out just naturally. It was like March actually is when I kind of noticed where, I really wasn't carrying as much. And March was also a milestone moment in my life. I turned 30, you know, had my 30th birthday. And so, but yeah, pretty much just that time. I kind of carry it here and there when I feel, I guess, called to. But yeah, prior to, a few months ago, this used to just live, you know, pretty much on me all the time. I had it for a long time. I had this wire wrapped and it was around my neck, and then the wiring kind of came loose or whatnot, and then I would just always just keep it, you know, on me. But yeah, I definitely have experienced a lot of just change and transformation since, you know, working with this crystal. I highly recommend it if you're thinking about getting it. You know, it can't hurt, right? It's a crystal, you know, just kind of keep it on you and just see how it makes you feel. I personally, you know, rather enjoyed it, and it was a cool experience. And Moldavite will always hold a special place in my heart. And of course, like I said, I still have my pieces. Yeah, I guess other than that, I don't know what else to say. I guess leave any comments. Let me know any questions that you have, and have a good day.